All right, you want to become a millionaire. Let's break down this blueprint from Alex Hormozi.
Yeah, his YouTube video, if I wanted to become a millionaire in 2024, this is what I'd do.
Full blueprint. So we're diving deep, extracting those golden nuggets of wisdom about creating wealth.
And it's interesting, he doesn't just jump into tactics.
Right.
He starts by redefining what it really means to be a millionaire.
It's about lasting wealth, not just like hitting some income level.
Exactly.
He defines a millionaire as someone exceeding 1 million in net worth.
Excluding their primary residence, though.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
But then there's the whole liquid versus illiquid thing, right?
Absolutely. And that's where people trip up sometimes. Like, your house adds to your net worth, but it's not the same as cash or stocks.
You can't just like quickly turn it into cash.
Exactly. Understanding that difference helps you make smarter financial moves, having flexibility.
It's about having options.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, Hormozi has actually done this himself.
Yeah, he built his own million-dollar businesses.
And now he helps others do the same. Adds credibility, right?
Definitely not just theory. Now, to get to that million, he outlines two main paths.
Earning or owning, right?
You got it.
That earning path is pretty straightforward. You climb that ladder, get the high-paying job, save like crazy.
But even saving a good chunk, like $200,000 a year,
Still takes you 10 years to hit $1 million.
that's where owning gets exciting. Building businesses, real estate, those assets generate wealth beyond just your direct effort.
It's like building a machine that prints money while you sleep, almost, versus just saving every penny.
Exactly. Leverage is the key. You amplify your potential.
He gives that example of selling a business for like a 4 times multiple.
Yeah, that's accelerating your wealth.
Right.
But here's where he challenges something most people think is a must.
Diversification.
Right. He thinks it's overemphasized, especially when you're aiming for that first million.
I loved his analogy here. He's like, imagine trying to fill multiple cups with a limited amount of water.
You end up with shallow pools instead of one full cup.
Spread too thin.
Your time, your energy, your resources, that's the water. Focus on one thing until it overflows, then worry about the others.
So ditch that myth of needing multiple income streams right away.
Find that one winning bet and go all in.
All in. And this leads right into another key thing he talks about.
The long game.
Building a sustainable business, one that can last, that takes time, a solid base.
Like, imagine building a tower. 10 seconds to stack blocks as high as you can, or 10 days to really build a skyscraper.
You want that strong foundation.
Short-term thinking gets you those flimsy structures that crumble. You need a great product or service, marketing and sales that work, and you got to constantly improve based on what your customers tell you.
It's plain smart, setting yourself up for success down the line. Kind of like that compounding idea, which I know we'll get to.
We will. It's about small, consistent actions adding up over time. But it all starts with building it right from the beginning.
Right from the beginning. Okay, so let's get tactical. Hormozi's tactics for the first million kicks off with finding what he calls a hungry crowd.
Identifying that perfect market for what you offer, and he's super clear.
That's the most important factor.
The market dictates your success. You could have the best product ever, but if nobody wants it.
No money.
Exactly. He has this analogy I love about a hot dog stand. You get one wish to create a competitive edge. Cheaper hot dogs, tastier, faster cooking time.
I'd probably go for tastier.
Nope. The best strategy is to put your stand on the busiest corner. Even average hot dogs sell out if you're where the demand is.
It's like basic economics, right? Supply and demand.
Yep. So it's not about being the absolute best. It's about positioning. Where are those hungry people?
So how do we find them, these hungry crowds?
He's got 4 key characteristics to look for.
Pain.
Yes, people need to have a real problem that your product solves. They're actively searching for a solution.
Not just browsing around.
Right. Then there's purchasing power. Your customers got to be able to afford what you're selling. Wanting it isn't enough.
Makes sense. What else?
Ease of targeting. Can you reach them effectively? Are they on specific platforms? The easier you can connect, the better.
Saves you a lot of marketing headache.
And finally, growth potential. Is the market expanding? You want to ride that wave, not struggle in a shrinking one.
Okay, so we found our hungry crowd, ready to serve them our metaphorical hot dogs. What's next?
Keep it simple. Focus is key, especially starting out. That's where his one avatar, one product, one channel formula comes in.
Sounds almost too simple, but I get it.
You pick one ideal customer, your avatar, you offer them one amazing product solving their specific problem, and you master one marketing channel to reach them.
Dominate that niche before branching out.
Exactly. It's tempting to try to be everything to everyone, but you end up spreading yourself too thin. Mediocre results.
Better to be a master of one.
Absolutely. All right, now let's talk about crafting that offer they can't refuse. Hormozi's book, $100 Million Offers, dives deep into this.
Let's unlock those secrets.
He talks about this value equation. It's about making your customers feel like they're getting an amazing deal by maximizing the perceived value.
Okay, how do we do that?
4 elements: dream outcome, likelihood of achieving it, time commitment, and effort or sacrifice involved.
So first, we got to figure out what the customer really wants. What's that dream outcome, the transformation they're seeking?
Right. The more compelling that is, the higher the perceived value.
Tap into those deep desires.
Then how likely do they believe they'll actually achieve that outcome with your product?
So that's where testimonials, guarantees, those things can.
Build that credibility. Next, the time commitment. How long will it take them to see results? The less time, the more attractive the offer.
Everyone's busy, right? Time is valuable.
And lastly, what are those hidden costs? The sacrifices they'll have to make, not just the price tag, but time, energy, even emotional stuff.
Minimize those, and the offer becomes more valuable.
He gives a great example with marketing agencies. One requires meetings, briefs, a long ramp-up period. The other says, relax, we'll handle it, see results right away.
Which sounds more appealing.
The second one, for sure. So it's about the whole experience, not just the price.
Okay, great offer crafted.
Yeah.
But now we got to shout it from the rooftops, right? Marketing and sales.
Even the best hot dog needs advertising.
He talks about 8 ways to advertise.
But for those starting out, focus on the core 4. Warm outreach, content marketing, paid ads, and cold outreach.
Okay, so warm outreach is tapping your network. Content marketing is creating valuable stuff. Paid ads are those platforms like Google and Facebook. And cold outreach is reaching out to people who don't know you yet.
You got it. And something he emphasizes is founders should be directly involved, at least at first.
Get your hands dirty.
You gain valuable experience, you understand the process better, makes it easier to delegate or outsource later on.
Learn the ropes before you hire someone to do it for you.
Precisely. Then, as you grow, you start building systems like that choreographed sales process he talks about.
What's that exactly?
A clear system to take someone from being interested to buying. Reduces friction, increases conversions, and it's easier to train sales teams as you scale.
Makes it repeatable, right? Less guesswork.
Exactly. So you're not just relying on your individual efforts, you're building a system.
Which ties back to that owning path.
Absolutely. It's a marathon, not a sprint. We've covered a lot, but it's all crucial for building wealth the right way.
Defining what a millionaire really is. Choosing that owning path, laser focus, the perfect offer, and getting it out there. A lot to process.
And we've got more coming.
Part 2, we dive deeper, explore, stay rich, and get richer. How to pay yourself, set goals that work, and actually enjoy all this hard-earned wealth.
The fun stuff. Stay tuned. Back for more of that Millionaire Blueprint.
Let's do it. We covered a lot of ground in part 1.
Building that strong foundation.
Now, let's say the money starts rolling in. How much should you pay yourself?
Ah, the million-dollar question.
Literally. It's exciting to think about, but also, like, how do you balance enjoying the fruits of your labor with reinvesting in the business?
It's tricky, right? There's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Right.
Hormozi emphasizes this thing about risk tolerance. He tells this story, right, about pouring all his profits back into his gym chain, and when things went south, he was left with nothing. So balancing growth with security is key.
Makes sense. You get caught up in building the empire, but you got to remember your personal finances too.
Absolutely. So how do we find that balance?
Yeah, what's the secret formula?
Well, he has a few ideas. One is the 3-3-3-3-3-3-3 split. A third to yourself, a third to business growth, a third to reserves.
Kind of like a balanced diet for your money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Covers all the bases. Then, for businesses with consistent cash flow, he mentions the watermark method. You set a minimum level of reserves, your watermark, and you distribute any profits above that.
So you have that safety net, but can still enjoy the profits.
Right. The key is finding what works for your risk tolerance, your goals. Maybe even talk to a mentor, get some advice.
Always a good idea.
Okay.
Let's shift gears a bit. What about goal setting? I know Hormozi has some unique thoughts on that.
He does. He goes beyond those traditional SMART goals, you know? He
Yeah.
focuses on activities, the inputs, rather than just the outcomes.
So not just obsessing over hitting a specific number, but what you actually DO consistently.
Exactly. He gives this example of his friend who's struggled with revenue goals, but then focused on specific daily actions.
Created a routine.
Exactly, and found way more success. It's like training for a marathon. You don't just run 26 miles out of nowhere. You follow a plan, those daily runs.
Build up to it.
He also talks about the rule of 100, committing to a certain number of actions each day and tracking it. 100 cold calls, writing for 100 minutes, whatever it is.
Show up consistently.
Now, here's where it gets interesting. He applies the scientific method to goal setting.
What? Okay, explain that one.
Identify the problem, form a hypothesis, figure out how you'll measure it, then evaluate the results.
So you're treating your goals like experiments.
Data-driven. Test different approaches. See what works. It's about constant learning. Okay, so we're paying ourselves strategically, setting goals like scientists, building that business. What's next on this millionaire journey?
Spill the beans.
Level 3. Stay rich. Get richer. This is where things get really interesting. We shift from working in the business to working on the business.
Okay, like from chef to restaurant owner.
Exactly. You build systems, processes that run smoothly even without you.
So it can thrive even if you're not there micromanaging every little thing.
Right. Less reliant on you, more on the systems and the team. It's like building a machine.
That sounds pretty freeing.
It is. You focus on the bigger picture. Strategy, growth, new opportunities. And this is where he introduces quad marketing.
Quad marketing, another one of those Hormozi terms.
It's about marketing to 4 key groups: prospects, customers, potential employees, and your current employees.
You see them as all connected, not just separate groups.
Right. Happy customers become advocates, bring in new people, and a strong employer brand attracts talent. It all works together.
A positive feedback loop.
And this ties into something we talked about earlier, reputation as currency.
Ah, the flower bouquet. I love that analogy.
Right. Each flower is a positive interaction, building that beautiful bouquet, your reputation. But just like a wilted flower.
One bad experience can ruin the whole thing.
Exactly. So you got to be consistent, protect that reputation, even if it means sacrificing short-term gains. And guess what?
What?
Compounding applies here too. Small actions over time build that snowball effect. Think about celebrities. The Rock, Kylie Jenner, they built these huge brands that translate to success in all sorts of areas.
Leveraging that reputation.
Exactly. But you got to be careful. One misstep can undo years of work. So long game, remember. Okay, now let's bring back compounding in general. It's crucial for both creating and keeping wealth.
The 8th wonder of the world, right?
Some people say that. It's earning from previous earnings. Like planting a tree, at first the growth seems slow, but then it takes off. Same with investing. Small amounts consistently over time add up big time.
That snowball effect. Can you give an example?
Imagine $100 invested with 10% annual return. Year 1, you have 110. Year 2, you're earning interest on that extra 10 too. It keeps building.
Your money is working for you.
Exactly. And this ties back to the long game. Patience pays off. Now, remember that marshmallow experiment?
Oh yeah, the kids who could wait for the second marshmallow got a bigger reward.
Classic study. It's all about delaying gratification. Now, Hormozi says patience isn't passive waiting. It's about actively doing things that support your goals while the compounding magic happens.
So it's like putting in the work, building those habits,
Yeah.
and having faith in the process.
Exactly. And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. The most important one, maybe,
What's that?
enjoying your wealth.
All this hard work has to be for something, right?
But Hormozi challenges the usual view of what that means. The fancy cars, the vacations.
There's got to be more to it.
He says there are 2 levels. Meeting your needs and reaching a point where money is a tool to pursue passions.
To play the game because you love it.
He tried all those rich people things, but found real fulfillment comes from aligning your actions with your values.
So figuring out what truly matters and using your wealth to support that.
He encourages making a dream list, assigning dollar amounts. Often, people are surprised how little they actually need.
It's about prioritizing those meaningful things, not just stuff. And even with financial freedom, finding purpose in your work.
It's not about retiring and doing nothing. He talks about infinite games, things with no clear end, continuous learning and growth.
Always a new challenge.
And that's key to enjoying wealth. It's not just the money. It's that richness of experience and fulfillment. We've gone through a lot, haven't we?
From building that foundation
You creating a business that can run without you.
and making sure you're actually enjoying the journey.
Yeah.
Wow, this deep dive into Hormozi's blueprint has been eye-opening. We've covered so much ground.
From those first steps to, really building a business that works without you and actually enjoying the wealth you create, it's not just the destination, right?
The journey matters too. What really struck me was that emphasis on aligning actions with your values.
Yeah, it's not just about chasing money for the sake of it.
It's got to be more meaningful, finding purpose.
Exactly. And that long-term thinking, that long game he talks about.
Like that tower analogy, slow and steady, no get-rich-quick schemes, building something that lasts.
With a strong foundation. And we can't forget about building that reputation.
So important.
Yeah.
Consistently exceeding expectations, building that trust.
It's currency. It opens doors. So, thinking back to that flower bouquet,
Yeah.
what's one flower you could add to your own this week? Something small to show your commitment, build trust.
It could be something as simple as a thank you note,
Mhm.
just going above and beyond on a project, or just helping a colleague.
Those little things make a difference. Now, those infinite games we talked about.
Yeah, the ones with no finish line.
What's one step you can take toward creating your own? Something you're passionate about that keeps you learning and growing.
Maybe learning a new skill, a side project, or diving deep into a topic that fascinates you.
Always exploring. That's what makes it so exciting. And that's a part of enjoying wealth, isn't it? Not just the money, but that wealth of knowledge and experience.
So much more than just a number in your bank account. Well, I think we've really unpacked this millionaire blueprint. It's not just about the money.
It's about designing a life you love.
Finding purpose, building something meaningful. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep building that future you envision. Until next time.